AI tools that I found most useful as a writing teacher, I would say Claude or Gemini. Claude is especially useful for lesson plans and discussion questions. It can adjust explanations and materials for various grade levels and student abilities. Now, when we come to talk about what AI is good for students, I have found that for students who want to do research, I would say Google's Notebook LM is really good as it provides agency and transparency to the parsing and the generating process. So the students have more control over, the output, and also they can figure out, how the bot is using the material. I have a class where the students test many of these tools for research skills, right? Such as reading and annotating, researching, writing, right? And what's interesting is that as they test the tools, they move from, using them to sort of replace what they want to say, or to using them to better understand what they're learning, right? So by the end of the class, they realize that they really want to do their own work, but the tools are helping them in some cases enormously to understand some of the difficult passages of things, or to express something that they're struggling saying. But for the most part, I would say that the students are using them as sort of like study guides, a little like an advanced Cliff Notes. I think that what is most important for them to know is that the hallucinations and the omissions that the tools are prone to, right, are not really an error or a bug. They're a feature of this type of AI, right? So to be creative, an LLM has to depart from the original text or material that it's been given. So by design, these tools are never going to be 100% accurate. So that means you have to constantly check them. It means you have to have critical reading skills to be able to make sure that the output is the one that you want. I think that if they were less expensive to use, in the sense of not just paying for the better bot, so you have to pay $20 or more to get the better version of the bot a month, but also, how environmentally expensive they are. And they're an expensive tool to use. So if they were less expensive to use, these tools could make really good learning companions, provided that, the user knows all the output must always be checked against reliable sources. As I work with these bots, I have heard over and over from the students that the chat format, or in the case of Notebook LM, the podcast format, really helps them understand complex ideas in a way that just reading or studying was not working for them. So like the printed version is too complex, and like listening to a podcast about what they're reading, or having a conversation with the bot about that reading that they're trying to understand really helps them. So the format of the bots can be pretty useful, I would say. So in that sense, I would encourage students. I just think that we need to wait for them to be slightly better and also slightly less expensive.